engine manufacturers schedule a meeting to discuss the matter in September. Will we see any changes? Renault, the manufacturer, has a new CEO and is promising changes to the Formula One team again. Liberty Media releases its results and posts record profits with Formula One. Red Bull feels the impact of Christian Horner's departure and is starting to lose staff. And yesterday, Hannah Schmid was on LinkedIn hiring strategists. That's right. Aston Martin completes the sale of its shares in Aston Martin to inject more money into the bottomless pit that Aston Martin has become. Who's going to buy Alpine? Hyundai enters the deal as a rival to Christian Horner, and Bernie Ecclestone says, "It's easier for Hamilton to win his 8th championship than for me and Horner to buy the team." Which is just the sort of thing a buyer would say, isn't it? Saying they're not interested, just like Alpine keeps saying they're not interested in selling. You know how it is. Friday, the 8th of August, 2025. A weekend without Formula One, the first of 3 in a row, but we'll have special programming here on Sunday. Keep an eye out. But first, sit down so we can talk about everything. Let's get to it. The bustling Formula One paddock was absolutely buzzing last weekend in Hungary, not just because of the intense heat, but also due to the significant and ongoing debates sparked once again by Mohammed Ben Sulayem, the current and highly visible FIA president, who's actively campaigning to stay on for another term. Break time equals 0.5s/. Since the start of his term in December 2021, Sulayem has been trying to get more money for the FIA, which has led to clashes with Liberty Media, the owner of Formula One, who actually provides 2/3 of the organization's revenue. And stirring up instability is a key way to make things look difficult, so you can then come in and offer solutions. You know how it is. And Sulayem realized that talking about V10 engines, internal combustion, and simplifying everything like it used to be has huge appeal on the internet. The problem is that half the teams on the grid these days are owned by car manufacturers. Ferrari, Mercedes, Aston Martin, Cadillac next year, Alpine, at least for now. The rest are either dependent on or closely linked with manufacturers, like Red Bull, which is an energy drink company but now has an alliance with Ford for next year. And the manufacturers, as you know, are interested in developing hybrid technology, improving fuel efficiency in the tank, and using Formula One as a marketing platform for these initiatives and, of course, to showcase the quality of their products. And then Sulayem comes along wanting to discuss, already for 2029, a change to V10 or V8 turbo engines, without energy recovery, without any hybrid components. And the manufacturers turn around and say, "But hang on, what about the fortune we've invested up to now? Are we only going to use these engines for 4 years? 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029? Are you out of your mind?" Because of this weekend the man who runs Ferrari and the holding company that owns everything, John Elkann, was there along with Gernot Dunner, CEO of Audi, and they had several meetings with Toto Wolff from Mercedes. Mercedes, in this case, the team. The idea of an early change to the regulations has already been challenged by Audi, Honda, and Mercedes, and would only go through with unanimous agreement. Mercedes and Ferrari are the biggest players because they supply engines to other teams. Mercedes supplies engines to itself, Williams, and McLaren. Ferrari supplies engines to itself, Cadillac, and Haas. And for now, everyone is in a holding pattern, saying I don't know if I'm for or against the new rules coming in 2026, so I don't know if I want them to end sooner, because we'll wait for the first race to see who did well and who didn't, because those who did well will naturally want things to stay as they are, and those who didn't will want it to end quickly. You know how it is, human nature. There's one thing everyone agrees on: engine budgets need to be cut by 30%. And everyone also agrees that if the engine rules change, they'll have to change the car regulations too, otherwise it would be the tail wagging the dog, and right now the FIA is trying to do exactly that. Keep the car regulations as they are, change the engine ones, and the only thing everyone agrees on is, we need smaller, nimbler cars so that the races can improve, especially on street circuits, like Monaco. Besides that, there are opinions from those on the outside who want to get in. Toyota, Hyundai, and Porsche's name has come up again, back in the spotlight. In September, there will be a meeting to discuss all this, and then we'll have a clearer picture of the situation. We'll know who's against, who's in favor, and whether this is just a smokescreen from 𝘾𝙤𝙥𝙮𝙧𝙞𝙜𝙝. Let me tell you something. We now live with the Splash and Go t-shirt campaign. There's blue, there's the highlighter one, in all sizes. Price, 169 ☾ with shipping included anywhere in the country. We've already sold 16% of them, and the campaign ends on the 7th of September, the Sunday of the Italian Grand Prix. To make sure you get yours, or more than one, some people have already bought both. I've seen, it's easy. Link down here in the description, QR code on the screen, and I've also pinned the link in the first comment. Just go there, click on support, and it'll open up for you to choose the color and size. It starts with the blue one, ends with the highlighter one. Just scroll down and you'll find your size. I've put there. There'll be a little chart, a sheet with all the sizes, explaining the measurements so you can pick yours. And I promised to include not only Splash and Go stickers, I had 1,000 printed, but also to throw in some freebies inside the boxes. Deal. Of course, I'm talking to RI Happy about this, right? The money raised will go towards my holidays. No, just kidding. The money raised will go towards building our new studio and set. After 4 full seasons, 22, 23, 24, and by the end of this one, 25, it's time for a change of scenery. It will keep its fundamental features. It's not going to turn red or anything, but we're going to give it a makeover. On top of that, we're going to fix a chronic problem I know we have here. The ceiling is too high, the space is too big, and there's too much echo. So, I promise, the sound is going to get better. Just kidding, but for that, I need your support. In return, we're sending out a gorgeous t-shirt made by a manufacturer who ended up becoming a friend of mine and who also produces licensed products for several Formula One teams. Anyone who bought from the first batch, back in 2022, knows the product is still great to this day. I wear them to record all the videos, I use them when filming outdoors, and they're comfortable, stylish, and I've already bumped into several of you out there wearing them. So, just go straight through the QR code, link in the description, and in the first comment, make sure to get yours, because if we don't hit the target, the campaign ends on the 7th of September, everyone's money gets refunded, and there won't be a t-shirt for anyone, not for me, not for you. And also, no, there won't be a new set. Alright, so that's it, ad done. Let's carry on. With 𝘾𝙤𝙥𝙮𝙧𝙞𝙜𝙝 leaving the top position at Renault, he was the CEO and left on the 31st of July to take over the leadership of the Gucci brand and conglomerate. Yes, the fashion house. Renault made a move and appointed an interim CEO, someone to fill in for now, J.-Dominique Senard, who has been with the company since 2002. He was CEO of Renault in Portugal, also CEO of Renault in South Korea, and played an important role in the alliances with Geely, Aramco, and Nissan. He is taking over from 𝘾𝙤𝙥𝙮𝙧𝙞𝙜𝙝, a man who had shut down Renault's engine program, something many people considered a mistake, because it's a bit hard to explain to the public. Here we are promoting Alpine cars. By Alpine cars, they're really good. But on the track, the cars run with Mercedes engines. This will happen from next year onwards. But now the damage is done, and ever since the engine program was shut down, loads of people have already left the factory and found jobs with rival companies. Now, after the summer break, Steve Nielsen takes over as head of the Formula One team, and we'll have to see what happens with Flavio Briatore, what will become of the drivers Gasly and especially Franco Colapinto, and what the next domino effect will be. We're going to stay in Formula One, and we hope to win races within 5 years. They've been saying that since 2018. Liberty Media Corporation, the owner of Formula One, which also recently acquired control of MotoGP, has announced its results. It's a publicly listed company and is required to do this yesterday, in fact. And the jump in performance was impressive, a 14% increase in revenue, and when adjusted for the year, some accounting market thing, it was up by 21%. The success of the Formula One film contributed to this, with the title already having surpassed $500 million in total revenue. According to Formula One's research, in the last 2 years, the fan base in the United States has grown by another 10%, reaching 52 million fans. The report also mentioned the partnership with Rede Globo in Brazil, something they considered strategic. A network with double, even triple the audience of Band, and which Liberty chose, even though they received less. According to reports, there was an offer from Band to continue for $10 million, one from Record to take over for 13, and Formula One is said to have closed with Globo for 8. And I mentioned yesterday on Instagram when I made this post about the results, and there are people who say that Formula One is dying. Red Bull is feeling the impact of Christian Horner's departure and is already starting to lose people. Many of the contracts for those not on the factory floor at Red Bull, but in management, were tied to Horner's continued presence, and with his departure, they're now free. Some people will stay if they want, but they're also free to leave, and can even leave early without having to serve any kind of gardening leave. You know that big risk in the corporate world of being hired to work at a company and then the boss who brought you in leaves after just a few weeks? Exactly. In Formula One, this kind of contract is very common so that you don't end up having to work with a new boss who, suddenly, doesn't like you or perhaps wouldn't have chosen you in the first place. Yesterday, I shared on Instagram and Twitter a poster from the team's senior strategist, Hannah Schmidt, advertising a vacancy precisely in the strategy department at Red Bull. And the word is that lots of people are landing jobs at other teams, including at Cadillac, at a time when the market is buzzing, with Toyota eyeing Haas, Hyundai wanting to buy Alpine, and they're not the only ones. So, if you work in Formula One, there's no shortage of job offers. Aston Martin, the manufacturer, has completed the sale of what was left of its ownership stake in the Formula One team. That's right, they held 4.5% of the team, sold it for $144 million, which puts the total valuation, the value of 100% of the team, at only, for Formula One, at $2.8 billion. This means that Papa Stroll got out of the business for much more than he put in, because when he got involved by buying Force India back in 2018, he would have paid around $150 for the team, and now, just by selling off this last bit, he's already pocketed $144. Not to mention what he'd already sold before. The name of the buyer hasn't been disclosed, but don't worry, the team won't stop being called Aston Martin, since the manufacturer has a long-term contract with the team, in which it pays $25 million a year to have its name on it. The manufacturer currently has the following shareholding structure. I'll read it out to you because I can't memorize all of this. Stroll's consortium holds 33%, the Saudi Public Investment Fund has 18%, the Chinese from Geely, who also own Volvo, Lotus, and so on, have 17%, and Mercedes has a small 8% stake, with the right of first refusal for a full purchase. The rest is spread out among smaller investors and funds. And Stroll is juggling several plates at once, since the big problem for Aston Martin as a manufacturer is debt. And the tariffs imposed by the United States have caused car sales to plummet. Their big bet to increase the value of the manufacturer and the team is the regulatory change in 2026. That's why they even gave Adrian Newey a stake, because all hopes are pinned on what comes out of his drawing board. Who's going to buy Alpine? This is the big topic of conversation at the moment. In previous weeks, we even mentioned here that Christian Horner and Bernie Ecclestone were tipped as potential buyers in a consortium that would try to replicate Mercedes' structure, 1/3 management, 1/3 investor, and 1/3 manufacturer. With this, Renault would step down from command, leaving it in Horner's hands, and would share the profits or losses with the investment fund because the Mercedes model is currently seen as the most successful. There, 1/3 belongs to Mercedes, 1/3 to Toto Wolff, and 1/3 to INEOS. Horner, who talks to his psychiatrist every week, would love to be Toto Wolff, and is desperate to return to the paddock this time as an owner. And Ecclestone said this week, "It's not true. I'm not interested in buying. Our chances of taking over this team are lower than Hamilton's chances of winning an 8th championship. So the chances are slim." This week, on Tuesday, we had a video that has already gone down in the channel's history as a big hit. The internal revolution that's happening in Maranello. Even though things aren't going too well for Lewis Hamilton, he's making a difference and has uncovered a chronic issue that says a lot about the Italian mentality, with 3 corners he had made on the car back in that first test in January. It was a hell of a job to make that video, to gather all that information. Everyone's been praising it. Obviously, we're really pleased about that. On Wednesday, the little big story, and I'll start telling little big stories that perhaps never would have occurred to me otherwise, talking about the 2005 United States Grand Prix, the legendary race with just 6 cars, which most die-hard Formula One fans remember. But, as I always mention here, 50% of those following Formula One today weren't doing so 5 years ago, so it's worth telling this lot as well as the old-timers, because, after all, they're great stories. I'm going to try to break a bit with my perfectionism of always picking out stories that few people know, to tell some that are really good, short, quick, and not everyone is familiar with. There's no Formula One on Sunday, but there is a special program, Teams We Love, Red Bull Racing, Chapter 1. Chapter 2, next Sunday, and Chapter 3, the one after that. So, you won't be left without anything to watch in terms of motorsport and Formula One on the Sundays when there's no race, right up until the Dutch Grand Prix returns on the 31st. It'll already be available to subscribers from tomorrow, Saturday. Because you know, right? Subscribers here on the channel have the privilege of watching videos in premiere, get priority replies during live streams, access our exclusive content, and have the chance to win the best prizes. Books from Gulliver Publishing, Formula Collection miniatures, Lego kits, Hot Wheels, and also miniatures from ReHappy. Every month, a whole bunch of things is sent out to our community here. It's a way to give back for the support you give us. We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers. Can you believe it? That's really cool. It backs up our work, which is my full-time job and sole dedication. This is all I do. I sleep and wake up preparing Formula One content for you. And in every live stream, we get your affection and support here, super chats, questions, and so on. Not to mention the fun of bumping into you out there. We also have Let Me Take the Chance for another plug, our book for sale on Amazon. Here's the QR code. I'll also leave the link in the first comment and in the description. So this is the Friday video, news delivered. On the 8th of August 2025, we thought Hamilton was going to announce something huge, didn't we? But he didn't. It was just an announcement about that non-alcoholic drink he's a partner in. Leave a like, it's free, doesn't cost a thing. You know it really helps the channel. Do me this favor, do us this favor, and leave a comment here. Did you see Tuesday's Ferrari video? Did you like it? Didn't like it? Do you think Hamilton will win at least one race? Do you think he'll at least get a podium? Do you think he'll retire at the end of this year? Will he just tell everyone to sod off? Or will he wait to decide after seeing the 2026 car? I reckon that's more his style. If you don't fancy commenting on any of that, just drop an emoji or tell us where you're watching from. It's always great to know that our audience is both national and international. To make sure you don't miss anything we do here, you know what to do. Notification channels, Instagram, Telegram, WhatsApp, and our social media handles are showing up here, and the links are also down below in the description. Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok, where there's content all the time. It's Friday, so cheers. Big hugs. It's Friday, enjoy, but behave yourself. Especially for me, since I'm, quote-unquote, off duty.